Archie Miller, who so far is answering all questions about where the Wolfpack offense will come from this year. Add to that nucleus 5 new faces, a top 5 recruiting class, some say. And it's no wonder. Folks in Raleigh say the Pack is back. Becoming one of the show places of the Atlantic Coast Conference. The Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena here in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's the excitement of NCAA college basketball tonight. This matchup, a non-conference matchup between the Dukes of James Madison and the Wolfpack of NC State. Good evening, everybody. I'm John Forsland. Great to have you along for this first ever meeting between these two schools. And they're happy and thrilled here in Raleigh. Not only excited that I'm joined by Dan Bonner tonight, but they're 3-0, the Wolfpack are. There's a lot of enthusiasm here, and they have a nice mixture of some young and old players. We'll start with the veteran leadership, Archie Miller.
Archie Miller is a guy that really does provide some stability for him, John. And you know, when you've got so many young players, you have to have some experience in the backcourt, and that's what Archie Miller gives them. Archie Miller, one of the outstanding three-point shooters in college basketball, among the top three-point shooters in ACC and NC State history. But he does more than shoot the ball. He's got 14 assists total in those first 3 games. So he's done a nice job getting the ball to the players who need to have it.
Many people are raving about Herb Sendek's recruiting class, and at the head of that list is Julius Hodge.
Of course, North Carolina State has had the reputation of having top recruiting classes. Some of the guys really haven't produced, but the hopes for Julius Hodge are very high. This young man out of New York just has the look of a basketball player. Long, able to get up and down the court, some pretty impressive high school numbers. He has had a pretty impressive debut in his first 3 games. He's made great.
Okay, JMU now.
Handling pressure. He's the guy that a lot of folks around JMU think that he makes them go.
So he's got a little old school flavor, and we like that, don't we? We're ready for this one, non-conference matchup between the Wolfpack of NC State and the Dukes of James Madison. It should be exciting from the Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena, where they're ready for this one and they're excited about the upcoming season for the 3-0 Wolfpack. Anthony Grundy will lead the way tonight. We're back with the opening tap from Raleigh after you watch this. All right, Anthony Grundy prepares, and so do the newcomers. As we see Josh Powell, Marcus Melvin, who had that great 3-game tournament, the recent Black Coaches Association tournament here in Raleigh, won by the Wolfpack, and we are underway, the first ever meeting, as we said in the open, between these two schools. And now James Madison will control the basketball. Here's Ron Anderson, the transfer from NC State, working it up top for Chris. Distributes the basketball, run. Prairie View, San Jose State, and East Carolina. Victories by NC State thus far. Anderson now up top. Just underway from the ESA, the Entertainment and Sports Arena here in Raleigh.
North Carolina State starts the game in a man-to-man.
Lyle swings out. Now Anderson controlling. Driving here is Williams, and he walked with the basketball.
Pretty good play by North Carolina State. You want to play Williams for the pass. He's not a guy who's looking to penetrate in there and shoot the ball.
Sherman Dillard's team 12 up and 17 down last year, 6-10 in the CAA. Preseason pick to finish 6th in that conference this year. They work it low. We welcome welcome the audience that has seen Davidson defeat UNC 58-54. Matt Doherty's team goes down. The Tar Heels losing their second consecutive game the other night, defeated by Hampton. So we welcome you, those of you enjoying that action, to the ESA in Raleigh. John Forsland, Dan Bonner with you. It is 2-0 NC State in the early going. The shot taken is no good by Lyle, and it's pulled down by Archie Miller.
And North Carolina State really gets the ball out quickly, and they've got a lot of guys who can score, and there's Julius Hodge. They get the ball down the court in transition, spread the floor, and attack very quickly.
Mr. Basketball, the state of New York last year, Julius Hodge. Good move inside by Kenny Whitehead.
Now that's a place where James Madison ought to have an advantage. They've got bigger, more experienced guys down inside.
Whitehead, the transfer from UNC Charlotte, is 6'10", a junior.
He and Powell really going at one another down on the inside.
Freshman Powell up top, three-point attempt. Archie Miller, he gets it, draining the three where he led this team in that department. Although he missed 9 games with an ankle injury, and that really hampered the Wolfpack offense.
Can't give Archie Miller that much room on the three.
Now they work it around. Here's Fanning. Picked up by Grundy, popping out Whitehead. Chris Williams is guarded by Archie Miller. Anderson swings with it, pulls up. A rebound pulled down by Josh Powell.
Good position by Powell.
3 minutes gone. 2 rebounds for the youngster Powell. 5-point lead as we see for the Wolfpack.
And here's a look at the North Carolina State offensive set. There's nobody in the post right at the moment. Nobody in the high post, nobody in the low post. I think it'll be an upset if they ever get a 3-second call.
Nobody home right now, and Grundy uses the window. So the offense is clicking for NC State with a 9-2 lead in the early going.
Thus far, North Carolina State in their offensive sets, they have been able to create situations where guys are one-on-one. There's been very little help available from James Madison.
Look for Anderson. Melvin tries to play it off Anderson, who recovers. 17 seconds on the shot clock. A three-pointer is knocked home by David Fanning.
And I think that's something that James Madison's going to have to do to stay in this game. Get the perimeter shot. They've got guys who can get to the basket. The question about them is how well are they going to shoot it from the perimeter.
Julius Hodge. People picked either NC State number 6 or 7 in the ACC. That shot is no good, and we have a push down low.
I think that's going to be called against Hodge.
Well, we have a timeout on the floor here as we see the NC State Wolfpack. Archie Miller from the outside, where he's always red hot, and Anthony Grundy at the controls. The Wolfpack by 4 early in Raleigh. The goals in the game. You see James Madison 2 out of 4. NC State 4 for 7 in the early going. Working down low in the paint for Whitehead. And we have a jump ball called the arrow going the way of NC State.
Boy, that was a great job by Archie Miller, dropping down and really fighting inside against the post. This ball is going to go into Whitehead as he turns to the basket. Here comes Archie Miller. You don't have to be 7 feet tall to play tough inside. Archie Miller gets it done right there.
Archie Miller from downtown. No good. Offensive board for Grundy. He lays it up and in. Anthony Grundy has 4 points. Some pressure up the floor by NC State. Powell's after it. Good hustle getting there ahead of Fanning, and they turn it over once again. 3 turnovers for James Madison. From the flank, Julius Hodge. A three-pointer. And the Wolfpack extend their lead.
And this is what we talked about. The pace of this game is going to be very important, and you see Williams sort of slowing things down.
This is Anderson for Whitehead up top. Lyle, they swing it around the horn. Fanning.
That's a tough shot.
Whitehead pulls down the offensive board. They restart the clock and now set up the offense. 14-5 NC State.
I think it's important that James Madison forced North Carolina State to play some half-court defense. Fanning has taken a couple of wild shots.
We get another chance here. Switches hands. That one's no good. And Grundy pulls it down.
You know, I don't know why guys get the ball inside and figure they got to power it to the basket all the time. Sometimes it's easier to throw it out and get an easy one, such as that one from Marcus Melvin.
Marcus Melvin. He was averaging 10 points a game, and we have a timeout called by James Madison as North Carolina State has run their lead to 17-5.
North Carolina State, a team this year that wants to pressure the basketball. That pass just gets away from Fanning. He's not strong enough to get it. Lots of times you're going to get open threes in transition, and Hodge knocks that one down. Now, one of the guys that you wouldn't say for North Carolina State is one of their better three-point shooters is 6'10" Marcus Melvin, but he's 4.
Last season, leading the team with those numbers.
One impressive thing about Miller is he shoots very few layups, and you can see there he shot almost 60% from the field.
Amazing. They really missed him, as we said, when he went out with that ankle injury, and now we had a double team on the far side. A foul called.
And I think the fact that one of your guards leads you in field goal shooting percentage is indicative that you really struggled on the inside. Here's that pressure again. Anderson, the transfer from NC State, trying to be strong over there. You don't want to be reaching in on that double team. Once you get a guy trapped, you want him to lob the ball up in the air so you can steal it.
Clifford Crawford, number 30, is checked in, and he picked up the foul. He started 25 of 29 games for this team a year ago. Strong move to the hole by Mitchell, thrown up by Caskill. Good muscle down low. That's Mitchell, but he walked.
James Madison, a great job using a height advantage. Sherman Dillard not happy with the result, but his guys are battling there. Casco actually takes it away from Mitchell. You can see the big guy in there just trying to create some space for himself, but you're not allowed to get the ball and jump backwards like that.
A little muscle down low. Here's Crawford. Turnovers. JMU, a big story against them early. Melvin way out. The rebound, Ron Anderson goes high in the sky, and here they come. Move it this way for Fanning. Anderson is up top, penetrates. Good move by Ron Anderson.
That whole thing was created, though, by Chris Williams, drawing the defense down to the baseline and then making the pass out of there.
First bucket for Anderson. Now we had a foul called up top. Ron Anderson, I believe, is picking up that foul. His first.
James Madison having a tough time getting set on defense. North Carolina State hustling down the court, spreading the court, and then attacking very quickly off the dribble.
Anthony Grundy, we see him checking in for Julius Hodge.
Here's that good ball movement. Back to Anderson.
Grundy throws it in. Melvin. William Eftimov is checked in. Number 3, he has the ball for NC State.
You see North Carolina State not afraid to have their inside guys out on the perimeter. Their guys pretty versatile, handle the ball pretty well. That's a hard matchup out from Mitchell on the perimeter.
Archie Miller directing traffic. Eftimov. Miller played at UNC Chapel Hill. Bosco Eftimov, and now penetrating is Grundy. JMU wanted a walk, but we had a foul on the way through. It's on David Fanning.
One of the most difficult plays in basketball to guard is dribble penetration when the floor is spread. Anybody who stayed up late last night and watched that Seton Hall Duke game saw that Seton Hall, with pretty good ball handlers, spread out the Duke Blue Devils and had it going their way for a while.
Boy, a little scare in that one, to say the least.
But it's tough to guard that dribble penetration.
Archie Miller awaits the inbound from Grundy. See the time and the shot clock we provide you with every trip now.
They've only got one guy anywhere close to the basket. Now they got nobody. The floor is spread out, a lot of back cuts.
We have a good look at it from here, as now we have a whistle down low.
Who'd they get? Was that on Broyles?
Yes, I believe so.
No, they called on Caskill, I think.
Ian Caskill. So Caskill picks up his first foul, and that is the third team foul on JMU. John Forsland, Dan Bonner looking on tonight along with you here at the ESA in Raleigh. Archie Miller, a three-pointer.
I'm telling you, he lets that ball go right now. No hesitation at all.
Big lead, a 13-point lead for NC State. They trap a bit. Williams breaks it. His shot, he gets the roll. So the roll goes in for Chris Williams.
Pretty impressed with the decision-making ability of Williams thus far.
Coming up on 8 minutes gone here in the first half. Eftimov.
It's hard to get double teams when you spread the court like this. It's hard to put pressure on the ball, particularly since the Wolfpack have established that they're going to take it to the goal.
Is this a different look this year for them or something we saw last year?
Oh, no, this is a very different look. North Carolina State last year, they had a couple of guys in the low post. They still had a lot of motion last year, but they're really trying hard to get the ball inside because they couldn't shoot it from outside.
They can with guys like Archie Miller in the lineup. Take a look here from downtown. He loves it. He has the confidence of a pure shooter. 29, NC State in Raleigh.
I'm shooting the ball. You can't come in here and shoot the ball under 30%, which is what they've done, which is what they did early in the game, and expect to compete.
Field goals right now, as you see, JMU just over 30%. NC State 61.5%.
Aggressive zone defense coming out of that timeout by James Madison.
Anthony Grundy, the senior, lets fly, and it counts. And he loves it.
That was what you call a deep three. And Sherman Dillard is disgusted that they fouled this. Look how far out the three-point arc he is. Normally, you wouldn't even need to jump out at that guy, much less foul him.
Averaging 13 points a ball game in the first 3 games. 7 points tonight thus far.
So he averaged last year almost 15 points a game, but shot down around 40%.
Yeah. That shooting average was 8th in the ACC. 24-9 NC State. Here's Mitchell. They break it quickly. Ron Anderson up the floor. Caskill goes hard. Mitchell tries to put it back. And Crawford out of the pile has the basketball.
I think that's a great block by Powell.
Melvin. Excellent anticipation. He's fouled as Marcus Melvin. NC State. Anderson fouled on the way up.
That's great hustle by Melvin, and not only that, Melvin went back and made a great play because that's a hard play to execute without getting called for an intentional foul, and Melvin was able to get that done. He made a play on the ball. It wasn't a play that was so aggressive that he got called for the intentional foul.
First foul on Marcus Melvin. 13 foul on NC State. Anderson at the line. He's another player who had an injury last year, a broken foot, which sidelined him for some considerable time. But this game has to have a lot of emotions for this young man who transferred from NC State.
I'm sure that it does. I talked to Sherman Dillard earlier today, and we talked about that thing. And he said he and Anderson discussed it, not at great length, because Anderson hadn't really said very much about it, and Sherman didn't want him to be thinking about it too much, but he did want to discuss it with him, and he said he thought Anderson was okay with it.
Just enough to put it in the back of his mind. 10:55 as we see left to go. First half play from Raleigh. Here's Clifford Crawford. Played both the point and the 2-guard for this team last year. Powell, the freshman. Cutting is Miller. Grundy. They now work it low for Marcus Melvin. The left-hand hook doesn't go. He hustles after it and does a great job saving possession for NC State.
North Carolina State has really had the advantage in terms of their aggressiveness in this game. Mitchell just doesn't turn around and block out. Sometimes guys, they get standing there straight up and down, don't turn around to block out, and then Melvin makes a nice play.
Reversal by Crawford is no good. The rebound is pulled down by JMU. They break it quickly. Here's Anderson.
Nice job by North Carolina State to get back on defense. JMU would really like to run, but North Carolina State has limited those opportunities.
Boy, they're pushing the ball, but you're right. The Wolfpack very quick getting back. That good transitional defense. Here's Fanning. David Fanning in the paint, pulls up. Gets it back, loses control, and it goes back to NC State.
And I think talking about a loss of control is a very good statement to make, because Fanning is out there trying to make things happen by himself. Has taken a couple of shots that may be ill-advised.
Julius Hodge, 24, is back in for NC State. That's Caskill on the JMU bench. Archie Miller out for the Wolfpack. Turnovers. James Madison, 7. NC State, 1. Lead 24-11.
That's Charlie Hatter coming in the game for James Madison. Now, Hatter has a reputation as a guy who can shoot the basketball, plus as a guy who makes things happen when he comes in the game. So they're putting him in there, see if they can get some shots to go down and see if they can generate a little activity, both on the offense and defensive ends.
Hatter, number 3. in the game for Sherman Dillard. Here's Julius Hodge. The freshman hits it. It's a three-pointer, and they love it. The home crowd here in Raleigh.
Wow. You know, I tell you what, North Carolina State established early that they were going to drive the ball to the basket. Now JMU laying off and the Wolfpack hitting threes. That's a great combination.
They stay hungry. The Wolfpack do on defense. Julius Hodge, shoeless.
He came right out of his shoe. This is a great screen. Hodge doesn't have his shoe on as he hits the ball. That's shoeless shooting out there. I didn't see him lose his shoe, but he just got it back out of the stand. So thus far, he's 1 for 1 from three-point line with 2 shoes and 1 for 1 from three-point line with 1 shoe.
And we'll keep track of that.
Absolutely.
Progresses. We always give you those interesting numbers like this, 3-point field goal.
Remember, one of those for North Carolina State was by a guy with 1 shoe.
Right. Very important fact, especially early in the season. Fanning goes down, pressured by Hodge from behind.
The interesting thing as you watch Fanning dribble the basketball right there, there's somebody with dribble penetration, but with the dribble penetration by Fanning, his 4 teammates are standing there watching him, whereas with North Carolina State, they've moved the ball from side to side a couple of times before they get the dribble penetration, so everybody's been involved.
Second foul on Hodge, 14 fouls in NC State. Hatter, the three-pointer.
Now, the last couple of days in practice, they've told Charlie Hatter that he has to be Archie Miller. And so they said he's been a great Archie Miller. He's been making all his threes in practice. He steps up right there playing Charlie Hatter, makes the three.
Down pat so far. Here's Hodge, 27-14. NC State has the advantage. Scooter Sherrill's in the ball game, 23, the sophomore. Hodge now will stretch it out, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Grundy. Now Melvin way out, guarded by Mitchell. Down to 7 on the shot clock as we see. This is Powell on the baseline. Loose ball, and it's tipped out of bounds, and it will stay put.
But there's only 2 seconds left on the shot clock.
Right.
And Herb Sendek is calling the play, and even though that's the signal for shot clock violation, he's not suggesting they get a shot clock violation.
Jarian Younger, number 4, is checked in for James Madison. Grundy will put it in play. Here's Powell quickly at the buzzer. And he gets a nice offensive rebound and puts it back.
Well, you got to be able to grab the ball. James Madison had that one in their hands and just couldn't hang on.
4 points for Powell, the freshman. They work it up the floor. JMU's Fanning.
Boy, nice job again getting back on defense. When James Madison has been able to beat the pressure, they haven't been able to convert because the Wolfpack's done such a nice job getting back defensively.
There's Younger. Charlie Hatter. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Royal. He can bomb those shots, but he missed that one. Younger pulls up. Gets it back, Jarian Younger. Fanning. Charlie Hatter, 3-point range. And Melvin has the board. Here they come. Marcus Melvin very quickly up for Scooter Sherrill. Now they'll slow it back down. Archie Miller on the far side, sent to check in for Herb Sendek.
Melvin, the nominal center, doing a real nice job handling the basketball. Shows you the kind of versatility that State has.
Shot taken, no good. The rebound goes to Hatter. JMU now brings it up the floor, down 29-14. John Forsland and Dan Bonner with you from Raleigh, North Carolina. First ever meeting between NC State and James Madison.
Man-to-man defense for North Carolina State.
Fanning now has a clear lane and misses the easy bucket. Royals puts it back.
Fanning expected more pressure than he got, and he didn't get any pressure because Whitehead did a nice job screening out on the inside.
2 points, the first 2 for Broyles. Here's Julius Hodge. Grundy, the senior. Melvin, the sophomore, spins. Beautiful turnaround, Jay.
Boy, Melvin's showing you the complete game, doing it from 3-point range, doing it with his back to the basket.
5 points for number 54. Here's Dwayne Broyles, number 30, pressured by Scooter Sherrill's all over him.
Boy, you do not want to dribble the ball across half court and pick up your dribble, and so JMU is going to call timeout.
JMU executes a timeout. The young freshman, Josh Powell, strong down low for the Wolfpack. They lead it 31-16 against James Madison. Don Forsland and Dan Bonner back with you. As JMU brings it up the floor, they have Williams, Anderson, Whitehead. Take a look at rebounds, and right now domination by JMU. We also have Younger on the floor and Charlie Hatter. That shot is taken, up and good by JMU. And Ron Anderson sinks two.
Key point in the game, I think, for James Madison. They've sort of stopped the bleeding a little bit. They've been playing even with North Carolina State the last couple of possessions. Now they have to see if they can cut into that lead.
Ron Anderson has 6 points for Sherman Dillard. 31-18 NC State with the advantage. They're home to the Citadel on Friday night in this building. Julius Hodge, a three-pointer, way off. And JMU takes over. We have some substitutions. Anthony Grundy and Clifford Crawford will check in for the Wolfpack.
And obviously North Carolina State trying to play an awful lot of people. They've been able to have a 10 or 11 man rotation through their first 3 games. And we saw Georgia Tech play last night, and Paul Hewitt of Georgia Tech uses a 10-man rotation. Have to have your game program handy when they're playing, and
as you always do.
Looks like NC State's going to try to play the same way.
What a win by Penn last night.
Penn's got a good basketball team.
Here's Hatter. Now Williams, Chris Williams.
Well, that's a nice job by Archie Miller.
Archie Miller dogging him. Williams for Younger. 3-point attempt. And the rebound is Anthony Grundy's.
You don't always have to stop a shot as a defensive team. Sometimes you can have great success when you just get the wrong guy to take the shot from the wrong place. And Younger, that 3 as the shot clock's running down, is something I think that North Carolina State would permit every time down the court.
Levi Watkins, number 21, another freshman, is checked in for Herb Sendek, a freshman from Rockville, Maryland. Here's Crawford, the spin move,
and that's a good call. He got his arm wrapped around Hatter. And when you do that, it's okay. You just can't do it right in front of the official.
That was only a couple of feet away, Dan. 2 fouls on Crawford. You see it right here. Now, this is not inconspicuous by any means.
No, it's right there in front of the official, the old hook. And there's a traveling violation.
Traveling violation will nullify that on that man, Chris Williams.
The pressure has really bothered Sherman Dillard's squad. And this is the thing, as a coach, you prepare. You know North Carolina State is going to do this, and you prepare for this. We were watching them at their shoot-around this morning. They were preparing for it. Their Hatter gets a blocked shot. Well, they're going to say Hatter never touched the ball, but he did force the change of shot, and they threw it off the backboard.
Turnovers in the game. James Madison, Charlie Hatter's team, 8. NC State only 2, and NC State has 9 points off those turnovers thus far. Watkins, 21, picks up Williams. Grundy also there, and Williams calls the timeout.
Called timeout because he felt himself falling down, and if you have possession of the ball and fall down, it's a walk.
Right. So Sherman Dillard now. We'll talk it over with this team who, as we pointed out in the open, has 9 players back from last year, but we pointed out that they started to come together late in the year. They actually won a game in their conference tournament. As we revisit the keys to tonight's game.
Well, thus far it hasn't been at the Duke's pace.
No.
It's been very much at a North Carolina State pace. They forced turnovers and converted them, and certainly North Carolina State really shooting the ball very well, particularly from 3-point range. So the keys that we talked about have certainly started to jeep for North Carolina State, but the engine won't crank for the Dukes just yet.
Herb Sendek now stressing his strategy, but Sherman Dillard's team will have a different look, as you pointed out, in the CAA. Gone are Richmond, gone is East Carolina, and also leaving the conference in the CAA along with Richmond and ECU. American,
that's right. American, Richmond, and East Carolina are gone.
They've been replaced by Townsend, Drexel,
Hofstra, and
Delaware. Making it a 10-team bracket. And the schedule, a little bit more hectic, a little more interesting.
Well, you got more conference games to play, so it reduces the number of opportunities that you have to get quality wins in a non-conference setting. And if you're going to try to get an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament as Broyles comes back in, that becomes important.
JMU did get that bid to the NCAA tournament in 1994. Lefty Drizel coaching the team at that time. Grundy now working it low for Melvin, bumped by Whitehead, and that left-hand shot hits the front iron and it's brought back up the floor by Williams. 4 minutes left to go in first half play in Raleigh. Jerian Younger way off the mark.
Now Younger has a history of having big games against tough teams, but he's not starting well tonight.
Timeout on the floor here in Raleigh for Herb Sendek and the NC State Wolfpack. They lead at 31-18 in the game. JMU is at 31.8.
Duke seemingly recovered from that early North Carolina State spurt, but they haven't been able to cut into the lead.
Oh, nice play for Ron Anderson.
I'm wondering where the heck they were throwing that ball, and all of a sudden Anderson appeared out of nowhere.
9 points. That's how he appears on the score sheet. Good defense there by Dwayne Broyles. Stealing the ball. Anderson. It's Crawford. Over nicely defensively. Now Williams looks at his coach for some instructions here with 3:12 left to go in this first half. Chance for JMU to cut the lead a bit here. Anderson goes to work and lays it off. For Lyle, relatively quiet. Williams is pressured up top. We're down to 7 seconds as we see on the shot clock. Here's Lyle, strong move, and he's fouled.
Now Lyle is the leading returning scorer for James Madison, a preseason All-CAA pick. He has been very quiet early. He's had an ankle problem, didn't play in their exhibition game, but he's a guy upon whom they rely for an awful lot of things out on the court, and one of them is points.
So Watkins will pick up that foul. Levi Watkins, his first. 16 fouls on NC State. Lyle, see the numbers on him, leading this team in points and rebounds last year for virtually every offensive category, as Dan points out. He's a senior from Poca, West Virginia, 6'8", 235.
And the Dukes suddenly have the lead down under double digits at 31-22.
Well, they've been able to peck away at this thing. Now Grundy is joined on the floor by Watkins, Crawford, Melvin, and Archie Miller. Here's the senior Anthony Grundy. Getting it back from Archie Miller, penetrating strongly, and the foul is called, an offensive foul on Anthony Grundy.
The North Carolina State offense, which looked so efficient in the first few minutes of the game, that time much too much dribbling. Grundy dribbled the ball, passed it to Miller, and then got it back. Not enough movement that allowed Lyle to set up very effectively on the defensive end.
That's the first foul on Anthony Grundy. Miller steals the basketball. Archie Miller back the other way.
Nice pass.
And a beautiful dish to Levi Watkins, who was fouled.
When Archie Miller really pumped up right there. And that's one thing that North Carolina State's been able to do. Even though they've struggled the last few minutes on offense, they turned up the defensive heat and got another turnover.
So Levi Watkins will go to the line. Williams picks up his second foul on that play as Watkins delivers from the line. They're high on this kid too, as you see, a freshman from Rockville, Maryland. He's a parade All-American last year.
One of the 5 freshmen to go along with 2 redshirt freshmen on this North Carolina State squad. And here's another one of the freshmen. Now this guy, Josh Powell, came in maybe as the least highly touted. Yeah. But he has really performed very, very well.
Where they needed to in that down-low presence.
Now everybody who came in relatively highly touted. There Lyle walks, so that's 2 consecutive turnovers now for JMU. But maybe the guy that is a little surprise is Powell.
Well, they don't get all the attention too, so they kind of have that pressure taken off. The 11th turnover by James Madison. Wild shot by Miller goes astray, and here we come again. JMU again, they want to move that ball up the floor. Rejection by Powell, coming from nowhere on Tim Lyle.
Now with Powell around, you cannot take long to get the ball off. He did a great job running the court and catching up.
That's been a trait that you talked about tonight, the way they've been able to get back defensively in this one. Crawford pulls up.
That is a very, very tough shot right there.
Herb Sendek screened that from the far side. Take a good shot as we see the...
Now here Lyle doesn't have any idea that Powell's in the neighborhood. And Powell makes his presence felt. This is a young team, and particularly playing this style of offense with the floor spread and trying to get dribble penetration, you're going to have stretches where they don't take good shots, where they don't look efficient on offense. But as the season goes on, they'll get better and better at this.
NC State's lead now is 11 points.
That's a great pass.
Miller to Anthony Grundy. Archie Miller distributing that basketball with touch. 10 points for Grundy.
Grundy took that right up against the 6'10 Whitehead and scored it.
Now Broyles losing the handle. They go after it again. Good recovery by Broyles. They lay it off for Whitehead. Oh, and Powell again pins it.
Powell gets it again.
The definition of pinning it by Josh Powell.
This guy really pretty impressive. That is great hustle by Broyles to get the ball. But I tell you what, nothing's clean with that guy out there. He just gets it and slaps it, and it just sticks right in between the backboard and the rim.
Anderson puts it in play for JMU, down 35-22.
And JMU gets that ball because that's a held ball, and it goes to the alternating possession arrow. It favored James Madison. We're not doing the experimental rules where we have jump balls in those situations. We're back to the regular rules where we're going by the alternating possession.
Good point.
If you've been watching some of those preseason tournaments, they're having jump balls, but we're now those things are experimental rules.
We're under 1 minute to go in the half, 35-24. Grundy will bring it up the floor with a 27 on the shot clock. Here's Melvin. Ball pops out again. They spread the floor. They've been doing this the entire first half.
But JMU in a position here, if they can get a stop and a basket.
They may get a basket. And again, getting back was Crawford, but he fouled Ron Anderson. Made a great steal and almost had the breakaway layup.
Herb Sendek, a little concerned probably because his team looked like they were going to blow this one wide open, but JMU stabilized things, and now they got a chance to cut the lead under double digits going into halftime. And Anderson, we mentioned the transfer from NC State. This is the first time he's played against his former team, and he has had a big first half.
See what he has done thus far. 3 fouls on Crawford. As Evtimov, number 3, Elian Evtimov, replaces Crawford. Also Scooter Sherrill, 23, is in. Marcus Melvin takes a seat on the bench for Herb Sendek. There's the big guy. 21 and a fraction left to go here in the first half. 35-24. Anderson gets the roll. JMU has cut it to 10. Evtimov. Work Grundy, pressured by Dwayne Broyles. Final push here for the Wolfpack. And Herb Sendek wants to talk about it.
Remember, in college basketball, the coach gets 4 30-second timeouts and a full timeout. One of the 4 30-second timeouts he has to use in the first half because he can only carry 3 over into the second half. And so what Herb Sendek has been able to do is to save that timeout so he can set something up to make sure they get a good shot opportunity in the last 15 seconds.
They have some good time to work with it. Of course, NC State, we mentioned
heavily on their senior backcourt guys, Grundy and Archie Miller, to lead the way.
The 2 seniors are on the floor now, as we see. 11 is Miller, 2 Grundy. Evtimov moving up top. He'll throw it up. Anderson goes high. Only 3 seconds left to go in the half. A long bomb by Williams.
Oh, my!
That would have counted. So the first half break here with Anthony Grundy leading the way for NC State. But James Madison made a game of it, especially late for Sherman Dillard in the opening half. And they're only down by 10 as they go to the locker rooms. That's the story after our first half of basketball here at the Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena. 35-25 NC State.
First half of basketball, Dan, and
As we pointed out in the open, we would really see leadership from the backcourt, from the NC State perspective, and that's what we've seen thus far.
Particularly early in the half, I thought Anthony Grundy and Archie Miller really played well to get the Wolfpack off to a very solid start. Now, James Madison sort of rallied as the half went on, but I thought Miller and Grundy were really a big key in that half.
They certainly were here. We'll see some of the highlights from a great half of basketball in terms of long-range shooting.
Archie Miller, of course, one of the top three-point shooters in the country, and he hit a couple of those in the first half. Anthony Grundy also did a nice job taking the ball to the basket. This one is a three that was a downtown three, and he actually got fouled on the play. Showed that little arm action at the end.
Gotta like that. Try that. Stay in shape by doing that kind of stuff. Anthony Grundy excited here in Raleigh. So are we. The Wolfpack by 10 at the half. Back with the question prior to the end of the half, is the Pack back? And the last couple of seasons, there have been some adverse conditions here that NC State has had to deal with.
North Carolina State, I think the last couple of years, has a team that has battled expectations, John, as much as anything else. In Herb Sendek's first year, they go to the finals of the ACC tournament. Everybody says, okay, now we've really turned the corner. People keep talking about, well, they've got this great recruiting class, and it just never has really come together for them. This year, you don't really hear the talk about how good they're going to be, and so maybe this is the year that they break through because they're just battling the opponents, not expectations as well.
Let's check out Herb Sendek now and get his views on overcoming adversity.
It's one thing to have character and constitution when the sea is smooth like it is now, another when a key injury presents itself, or somebody who had his heart set on starting now finds himself coming off the bench. And all those different dynamics begin to enter into the equation. And if we can maintain the togetherness that we now have and use that as an equilibrium, this team can really be, in time, a very successful group.
Well, Dan, can they do it? That's the question.
Well, of course, that's the question, and we're not going to find that out for a while. This is certainly a team that has some talented players. Their big problem last year was really the inability to shoot the ball. And thus far this year, they've got a healthy Miller. He's shooting the ball pretty well. Julius Hodge has shot the ball pretty well. I think they've got the ingredients where if they get good breaks instead of bad breaks, then I think they have the shot at accomplishing something.
They have a chance to be 4-0 with a win tonight, and thus far they're on their way. They lead it by 10 at the half at home. NC State 35, James Madison 25. Back with more right after this.
Some easy opportunities for JMU early in the half. Lots of them created by the pressing defense. Here a turnover. Grundy and Miller push it up. Hodge hits the three. He had 8 points before he had to go out with his second personal foul. The one thing that JMU has done very well is rebound the ball offensively. Here Fanning misses the easy one, but one of 10 offensive rebounds for JMU in the first half. That really helped the cause. And for North Carolina State, Powell with the ball in the first half. They did a good job on the offensive boards as well. Here's a couple of the freshmen, Powell and Hodge, battling inside, and they're able to convert the play.
Archie Miller tries to start with a three-point attempt. That's no good, and Williams brings it up the floor. Chris Williams, Ron Anderson, Kenny Whitehead, David Fanning, and Mitchell are on the floor here for JMU.
Man-to-man for North Carolina State.
They pop out. Whitehead in the paint, lays it up and in.
Boy, that's a tough shot, and that is as close as James Madison has been in quite a while.
4 points for Kenny Whitehead. Whitehead, the junior transfer from Arlington, Virginia. Now Marcus Melvin.
Last time they were this close was early in the game when the score was 11-5.
There you go, but Marcus Melvin, again, that great touch for a big man, drains the three-pointer.
Boy, that's you know, if you're a big guy guarding Melvin, it's just really hard for you to get in your mind that you got to go out there and cover him.
Now Mitchell. 8 points for Melvin, the sophomore. Here's Chris Williams. His opportunity misses. Grundy leads the break. It's a 3-on-2. Grundy. Pass stolen by Williams.
Boy, they didn't execute that break very well. 3-on-2, you want to get a good shot.
Now Williams will pull it out. Just underway here in this second half from the Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena. Home floor of the NC State Wolfpack. Their third season in this brand new 19,000 seat facility. Anderson with the miss. The Duke's leading scorer. Here's the young freshman, Julius Hodge. Oh, showtime. And the other freshman Josh Powell could not handle the pass.
There must be something going on out in the middle of the court there, because both Whitehead and Powell tripped as they were coming down the court.
Now it's laid off for Fanning. Just about 2 minutes gone here in the second half. Fanning losing control, but they will maintain control. James Madison will, as Sherman Dillard, their young coach, looks on. The possession arrow as we start this half, we should say, is owned by JMU.
And now we're getting things cleaned up. Everybody's shirts tucked in. We're ready.
Got to look good, Dan. Remember, that perception is 9/10 of reality. And Anderson continues his Taylor job on the inbounds. Fanning. Great jump shot, a three-pointer for David Fanning.
Fanning hit a three in the first half, and after he hit that three, he started shooting a lot and not very good shots, and we'll see if he can stay sort of within the rhythm of the offense here.
That accounts for all of his points tonight. 6 points for Fanning. Here's Archie Miller, senior for the freshman, and Josh Powell. Down to 15 seconds on the shot clock. Move it up for Grundy. Great move. Great explosion by Anthony Grundy.
But a great job by Archie Miller to get the ball over there.
12 points for NC State's leading scorer, Anthony Grundy. Here's Fanning.
You get the ball from side to side. The defense has to run out and attack a guy out on the perimeter, and that's the perfect opportunity for a drive to the basket.
NC State maintaining the 10-point lead. JMU will slow the pace down here. Anderson looking inside for Mitchell. He wards off a man, and the foul is called down low.
Grundy up on the other end, though. Archie Miller takes the ball and gets it to the other side of the court. The defense trying to react back and pick up Grundy, and everybody just stands there and watches him. Sherman Dillard was not very happy about that play, but well executed by North Carolina State and well finished by Anthony Grundy.
The hold is on Anthony Grundy, a second foul, the first on the team in this half. Anderson pops out, guarded by Grundy. Mitchell in the paint, spinning. And the rebound belongs to Marcus Melvin.
I think Powell got his attention in the first half because he shot that one sort of straight up in the air. He had an easy opportunity and missed it.
They rely on Mitchell's muscle in the paint. Here's Melvin from the baseline. The rebound, Hodge. And we have a foul. Julius Hodge went up strong. Foul's on Mitchell.
Well, now, if you're Sherman Dillard, you've got to wonder what's going on here, because nobody really goes out and covers Melvin. And Hodge is able, nonetheless, to get in there and get the rebound.
Second personal foul on that man.
Anderson did not block out Hodge, and as a result, Hodge was able to get that rebound. Now, North Carolina State's offense was functioning very smoothly in the first half when Hodge was playing. He had those 8 points, but he picked up his second foul and he went out. And it was at the point that he rubs that forehead like, what can we do now?
41-30, 11-point lead. The team with the basketball, North Carolina State. Melvin, that time a good defensive job by Mitchell. The ball stolen by Fanning. Here they come, pushing it quickly up the floor. Fanning lays it in.
That pass just took too long to develop. Crawford really telegraphed that. They had a look at what's going on in the middle of the court. We got a lot of guys falling down out there.
We'll investigate that. We'll get someone on that during our timeout coming up soon. Another two individuals go down. This time it was Hodge and Anderson. 8 points, we should say, for David Fanning at the other end. Ron Anderson picks up his second foul. And the second team foul. We have a break in play here in Raleigh. 15:57 left to go in the second half. And Bonner back with you. And NC State will inbound the basketball. Herb Sendek has Hodge throwing it in. Crawford, Miller knocked down off the ball. Slow to get up is Marcus Melvin along with Powell on the floor. We had a push down low.
Well, Mitchell cleaned house in there, and he's a guy that just looks like if somebody's on the floor and he's in the area, it just looks like he pushed it.
Look at him. That's 3 fouls on number 42 also. And the 3 team fouls on James Madison in this half. His foul shot rims out. And the youngster wanted it. The foul will be on Kenny Whitehead.
It's very difficult to drop down off the perimeter players for North Carolina State and help out on that play inside because you're worried about Powell kicking it back out for the three. So the offensive set for Herb Sendek's team really created an opportunity for Powell to go one-on-one. Now he's got to convert from the free throw line.
Josh Powell, the young freshman, has 5 points. That is Tim Lyle checking in for Pat Mitchell early in the second half.
Well, Lyle again will point out the leading returning scorer and rebounder, first team all CAA preseason selection, who's been bothered by some ankle problems. Number 50 really hasn't played very much tonight.
Now, he did not play in their preseason game.
That is correct.
Played the Greater Toronto Express, much heralded team, well known around North America.
Around Toronto particularly.
That's why they're great. Here's Fanning, the reversal. Whitehead goes strongly up, but it kind of comes out. Tough
Another
break.
offensive rebound. Sherman Dillard jumping up and down over there on the bench. You've got to get that one.
From the baseline, Julius Hodge, it's no good. Williams lays claim, and here they come again, pushing the tempo quickly. Chris Williams, and we have a whistle up top.
And we're going to have a hand check out front. Sherman Dillard has seen his team get some opportunities. We mentioned 10 offensive rebounds in the first half, but only 4 points as a result of those offensive rebounds.
Third foul on Julius Hodge.
This is a great pass right here. Fanning makes it a harder shot than it really needs to be, but here's the 6'10 Whitehead with a layup, and you just got to have those.
Hodge has been replaced, and the ball batted away by Anthony Grundy. Great athleticism on that one. JMU gets another crack at it. As we see the young freshman on the bench. 3 personal fouls. Anderson puts the ball in play. Here's Fanning. Strong move. Grundy tries to draw it, and he gets it. Charging foul is called on David Fanning.
Fanning once again just a little bit out of control in there.
Second foul.
Fanning's going to catch the ball, and he passes up the 3. How many times do you see a guy pass up a wide open shot, take the ball into trouble? And that's exactly what he did right there. The last time they ran an out of bounds play for him, he caught the ball and hit the 3.
2 fouls on the junior from Chesapeake, Virginia. David Fanning. Turnovers in the ball game, a big story. James Madison mounting with 13. Now 5 minutes gone in the second half. Archie Miller spinning away as his team maintains his 43-32 lead. Melvin. Now Crawford. Powell trying to get free in the paint. Now Powell pops up. There's a screen on Anderson possibly. Crawford goes the other way. 3 seconds on the shot clock. A wild miss, but it's put back and in by Josh Powell right at the buzzer. 8 points for Powell.
Just keep hustling. You got to be patient and keep hustling right till that buzzer.
Williams thought about a timeout. Probably should have caught it, but the foul is called on Clifford Crawford.
Lots of times when the shot clock's running down, guys get in a panic. Crawford forces the ball up there, and in between 2 guys, Powell pulls it down. That's Lyle, top rebounder for James Madison, and Whitehead, their biggest player. And Powell goes up there, gets it in between the 2 of them, and scores the basket at the buzzer of the shot clock.
And Crawford on the bench with 4 fouls. He's replaced by Hodge, who has 3. NC State 3-team half. Here's Williams penetrating, laying it off for Anderson, and the foul is called.
Another offensive foul. North Carolina State doing an outstanding job defending the dribble penetration by having the guys on the inside step in and draw the charge. Takes the ball too far to the basket. Powell is just standing there. You got to be able to jump stop and make the shot or the pass without going forward and running into somebody and getting the charge.
3 fouls on Williams and 6 already on the team in this half. So early foul problems for Sherman Dillard's team. And
at least 3 of them are offensive fouls.
Yeah. Julius Hodge goes up and lays it in. It was defended by Anderson, but great elevation by Hodge and a great steal up the floor by the freshman.
It's not bad elevation right there.
Oh. Here's Grundy. Kicking it out for Archie Miller.
Miller didn't catch that one cleanly. That was
gone about it, didn't he?
And that's a great decision. He didn't have the ball cleanly, so there's no sense to shoot the thing. Wait till you catch it cleanly and then let it go.
Grundy now directing traffic. 14 seconds on the shot clock as we see. Grundy again reverses up and in.
That's the second time this half we've seen that same play. The defense drops off off Grundy because the ball's going to the other side. They whip it right back to Grundy as the defense tries to react back to him. He goes right around.
Mr. Grundy has 14 points. Sherman Dillard is trying to get the attention of his troops now. It's a 49-32 contest. Dwayne Broyles kicks it out. Outside it's Lyle, and he gets a big bomb, a three-pointer for Tim Lyle.
And that's an important basket. NC State had been on an 8-0 run. Now JMU's got to battle back once again.
Here's Grundy. Launch now for Melvin. Foul turns, faces the basket. Strong move, denied, but fouled by Kenny Whitehead.
And Powell's just feeling it on the inside right now. Hodge has been spectacular at times. Now this is penetration to the basket that's under control, and he just leaps up over his defender and gets it. And now the ball being reversed, Grundy just catches it, goes right to the baseline. Very poor help defense by James Madison in that situation. Those are the kind of situations where down on the NC State defensive end, people are stepping in, drawing charges.
2 fouls on Whitehead. Foul connects. Bonus time for NC State. Pasco, number 51, is in. Whitehead goes out. Chris Williams goes out for Sherman Dillard. Dillard has Anderson, Lyle, Pasco, along with Fanning. Royals on the floor. Both ends for Mr. Powell, 51-35. Josh Powell's had a strong game for Herb Sendek. Off the floor, pressure by Grundy on Fanning, and turned it over. And a walking violation here on Powell.
But Fanning, again, how many times tonight has JMU taken the ball across half court and picked up the dribble? If you're going to pick up the dribble, pick it up back behind half court where you at least have some room. Once you go across the half court line, you cannot throw it back. Get yourself in a box right across half court and you're in trouble.
Lyle again from way out, and it's way off. But Fanning gets it back.
Now, that ball did not hit the rim, so the shot clock did not reset.
16 turnovers now for JMU, and that shot clock now is at 13 as drifting in the paint was Anderson, and he was fouled. Eftimov was there. Again, Eftimov.
Eftimov is big enough that when he fouls you, you're going to know.
He's a big kid.
That is a tough pass in the lane. You don't want to throw the ball into trouble. The guy throwing the ball has to be the eyes of the receiver, and you know, it's like throwing a pass high across the middle in football. The guy's going to get his clock cleaned, and that's what happened to Anderson.
Eftimov is 6'7", 226. Born overseas. Spending time in schoolboy ball in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Royals, a three-pointer. And Miller picks it up. Up the floor we come. It's Grundy. And he lays it in. A beautiful move by Grundy, trying to draw the foul. 16 points for Anthony Grundy.
That's a great move by Grundy, but when Broyles missed that shot, he started jumping up and down, upset with himself, and that allowed Grundy to beat him down the court.
Some momentary lapse of composure. JMU now brings it up, and NC State and their fans can smell it here. They can smell the kill. Lyle, strong move, Tim Lyle.
And that's the kind of stability that Lyle will give James Madison when he's healthy enough to play.
He has 7 points, most of those coming in this half. NC State has hit their last 5 trips down, make it 6.
I have no idea how that pass got through there.
Maybe we could see it at another point in time. 55-37, look at this dogged style defensively. Grundy has the ball, but he turned it over. Now Fanning back the other way, the outnumbered chance. Pasco goes strong, and he's fouled by Josh Powell.
There's some great hustle by Grundy. Very nearly gets the steal, goes down and grabs the thing. Grundy gets down court. Now Broyles is upset with himself. Grundy tries to draw the charge, but makes the spectacular play Now, as Hodge cuts back door, I don't know how Grundy even sees this develop and just threads the needle.
Oh.
That is a great, great pass and a nice catch on the other end.
Now we saw it. Caskill. Ian Caskill at the line. The big man, 6'10", out of Virginia Beach, as Melvin is back in for Herb Sendek. Josh Powell will get a rest for the Wolfpack, leaving the game with his team in front, 55-37. Student body thus far.
Well, I would agree with that. Particularly his defense in the second half has been very, very strong. JMU went into the locker room sort of making a little run, but North Carolina State, with their defense, has come out and taken control in the second half.
It's a 10-point game at the half. JMU at the tail end of it, making a game of it a reasonable chance coming into the final half of play, but NC State has been determined throughout this game as they look to improve their early season record to 4-0. Field goals this half. 7-11. Lucky 7-11 on the board for NC State. As good penetration that time by Chris Williams. Has 4 points.
James Madison comes out with a little pressure. Chris Williams, as a guy, we talked about him before the game as being one of the keys for James Madison, and to be perfectly frank about it, he has not had a real good game to this point. NC State pressure has really seemed to bother him.
Now it's Marcus Melvin with the spin move, and he gets the roll. Melvin, very impressive tonight. 10 points for Marcus Melvin, his average on the young season. NC State, the first 3 games, averaged winning margin 30 points. In their victories over Prairie View, San Jose State, and East Carolina, the BCA Classic here at the ESA, as Ian Caskill underneath gets the bucket.
And Lyle has really been a big factor. Caskill scores that basket, but Lyle's the guy who created the opportunity for him. Lyle's had a big second half. 3 points for Caskill. 11 minutes gone in the second half. Now Grundy penetrates, gets his man up in the air, loses control, gets it back. What an effort. And second chance points have been a big deal for NC State. 13-4 in the game in that regard. 18 points for Anthony Grundy. Grundy has really, really been solid. Senior leadership we talked about in the open. And now what you're doing if you're North Carolina State, you want to get out and defend this shot right there. It's going to be hard to come back from 17 down for James Madison if they're limited to 2-point baskets. So you get out and defend the threes tough. Grundy again, relentless. Having an outstanding game. We'll see his basket one more time. Grundy obviously feels like he can take his man, and it's not the same guy every time. Right. He feels like he can take him defensively every time. That time it was Fanning. He takes him inside, gets his own rebound, and scores. Grundy is 6'3", but they say his reach is equal to a man of 6'6". He's put on a little weight, too. He looks a little bit stronger than he did last year. Not overly big, but a little bit bulkier. And when you play in the Atlantic Coast Conference, every little bit helps. Yeah. Now you're talking about going out there and playing against guards. Jason Williams. Wide margin, 8:17 left to go in the contest, 61-42. Now Fanning, guarded by Grundy. Williams. You want to try to be very, very aggressive on the ball. Limit the opportunities for threes. Make them score 2-pointers. Don't foul them. Herman Dillard has number 3 Charlie Hatter in the game. 2 shoot from the outside. A 3 attempt by Anderson, no good. The putback by David Fanning. And those are not good 3-point shots. They're sort of out of the context of the offense with a guy right in your face. This is the first time in a long while James Madison has opened up on the road. Have never been able to beat an ACC opponent in their history. Grundy 8 for 10 from the field. Key Tog. Eftimov with the move, the follow-up by Hodge, but a strong move by Elian Eftimov.
and he was fouled.
And that's the same move that we have seen Grundy make a couple of times. They swing the ball from one side of the court to the other, and when they get it over on this side of the court, the guy who catches it out there, twice it's been Grundy, that time was Eftimov, just takes the ball to the basket.
Charlie Hatter picks up his first foul and puts Ilya Eftimov at the line.
I think it's also, you have to point out, as Eftimov makes the first free throw, that this is the 4th game of the season for North Carolina State, and it is the opener for James Madison. And this is a tough place to come and open, I'll tell you what.
Character builder for Sherman Dillard's team as Eftimov connects. And we have another break here in Raleigh as we get ready to go down the stretch.
Ripped up his hand, did a lot of nerve damage. Didn't play his senior year in high school. James Madison, however, honored his scholarship commitment. He redshirted his freshman year at JMU, and the feeling is just now starting to come back into that hand. They're hoping that he can contribute from a shooting perspective. He's been a very, very solid, tough, aggressive player, but they're hoping he can come all the way back in terms of his ability to shoot the ball.
That's a great story for that young man. Fanning drawing one on the way through. Eftimov will pick up the foul as he takes a seat on the floor. 6:54 left to go. 63-44 NC State.
And Fanning's got 10 points tonight, John, but he has really struggled, only shooting 4 for 11. And North Carolina State's perimeter defense has really been very effective, limiting the opportunities that Fanning's had.
Fanning led the team in the free throw percentage last year. Next there, and you saw the numbers overall in this game. NC State has been 8 of 8 from the field in the last 7 minutes and change.
Well, you're James Madison. You got to figure it's hard to catch up if North Carolina State's going to make all their shots.
Good logic. That's why you're one of the best.
There's some things that even I can figure out.
Even you. Now moving quickly here is Levi Watkins, and he will get the bucket. A strong move by the freshman.
Boy, they're just playing with such confidence right now. And of course, again, when you're making all your shots, it's easy to play with confidence. But here, Watkins recognizes that he's got Mitchell guard. Remember, that's just a tough assignment for Mitchell. Now, Mitchell probably has the advantage inside, but Watkins just takes him right off the dribble, and there's nothing that Mitchell can do.
It was over on that first step, wasn't it? Gone.
But now, if you're going to take a big guy out on the perimeter, it better be over on the first step, because if it's not, then he's in position, and now you're down in his territory.
Watkins converts the three-pointer. 66-45. Sherman Dillard has Williams with the ball on the floor, along with Fanning, Whitehead, Mitchell, and Ron Anderson. Watkins, Crawford, Melvin, along with Sherrill and Miller for Herb Sendek. Great move by David Fanning. Gets it and will go to the line for one.
And that's the kind of quickness that Fanning possesses. He just does a great crossover dribble and gets by Watkins out front. Keep in mind that Fanning is only 6 feet tall and takes that one up over Marcus Melvin at 6 feet 10.
Fanning goes to the line, 13 points, 3 rebounds. Melvin picked up the foul. That's 7. That's the second foul on Marcus Melvin. We have Anthony Grundy ready to check in. A good look there. At the senior, he replaces the sophomore Scooter Sherrill.
And another point that we may want to make, we're talking about Fanning producing some offensive numbers. Well, Ron Anderson had 9 at halftime for JMU, and he has not scored in the second half.
Fanning has 14 points in the game, 10 in this half. Crawford directing traffic. His team up 66-48. Grundy pops out. Melvin awaits the ball. Trading places with Archie Miller. Grundy driving on Fanning, spinning. Beautiful to watch, isn't he?
Now that's exactly the same thing we've seen from him about 3 or 4 times today. Gets that ball reversal and just explodes to the basket.
Great night. Anthony Grundy, 22 points. Well over his average on the young season. Here's Kenny Whitehead with the stop.
Now that's the kind of a play that James Madison, they're not going to win the game with that play. They're too far down to come back with 2s, and so as long as they run some time off the clock before they score, it's not really a problem for North Carolina State. That was a tough play, a great pass.
NC State working the offense here. Good look for Clifford Crawford. His shot misses as we see, and Mitchell pulls it down. Here's Williams. Relatively quiet night for this young man. A good drive here, and he was hacked on the way up. Chris Williams had an opening, went for it, and Levi Watkins collapsed and picks up the foul.
Now, have we seen this before? Well, yeah, we have, mostly to the other side, but here Grundy takes the ball to the baseline, and Fanning that time actually does a pretty good job cutting him off, but Grundy with the spin move, and nobody there to help Fanning.
Not much stopping him tonight. Williams is at the line. 2 fouls on Watkins. Chris Williams, 5:01 left to go in the second half. Missing the first chance, getting the second one. Williams with 5 points in the game. Levi Watkins bring it back for Anthony Grundy.
And Archie Miller, you can see him down in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. He doesn't have the ball. Now he's got it. But before he got the ball, he's telling everybody where to go.
Marcus Melvin. He was fouled by Kenny Whitehead as they get the big guy free on the block. And he goes to work with his magic, and that's the 3rd foul on Mr. Whitehead.
One of the things that has been impressive tonight about North Carolina State is how they have done a nice job spreading out the scoring. Archie Miller hit a couple of baskets early, and so you concentrate on him, and then Grundy gets going, and then Melvin gets going. It looks like they have a number of weapons.
So albeit early in the season, it may be a developing team concept that this man didn't have last year.
They like the fact that it's sort of been somebody different every night for him. You know, I think Powell, he's on the bench now, but he has been impressive in spots tonight. Hodge started out very well, had 8 points in the first half before he got a couple of fouls. So it appears that on this young team, Herb Sendek does have some options, and Sherman Dillard's trying to find the options. There's Powell.
Young Josh Powell on the bench. Mitchell is checked out for JMU, replaced by Dwayne Broyles, number 30. Working low for Kenny Whitehead, the transfer from UNC Charlotte. And Melvin has another rebound.
And I think James Madison, as they go through the season, they're going to need more on the inside offensively from Whitehead and Casco. They're just going to need more production in there.
Melvin has 5 boards tonight. Shot by Watkins is no good. This is Dwayne Broyles back the other way. Williams settles it down, drives on Miller, and lays it in. Chris Williams.
Now Williams beat Miller, but Miller did a nice job not fouling. The ball goes in, it's 2 points. At this point in the game, 16-point lead, big deal. You don't want to foul him and stop the clock.
Oh, we have a timeout. John Forsland and Dan Bonner back with you in Raleigh, 69-53. Second half shooting. NC State just about 65% in terms of their field goal percentage. JMU at 52%. And NC State has really spread the wealth in this game. Balanced scoring, determined defense.
Well, it's been a good effort against a pretty good James Madison team. This is not a bad basketball team. It's their first game of the season, and they're still struggling to put the pieces together.
Now Grundy, with only 2 seconds on the shot clock, connects. Anthony Grundy continues his wizardry as he mounts, I believe, 26 points. 24 points from the net. 10 out of 12 from the field for Grundy.
That's Anderson's first basket of the second half. And he was a big offensive factor with 9 points in the first half. So North Carolina State doing a nice job cutting off that offensive avenue.
Leading scorer Ron Anderson was at the break. Now Crawford. 3-point opportunity, and the rebound goes to Chris Williams. Williams down the floor in a hurry. Was fouled as he went up strong heavily this season. Distribute the ball and orchestrate their offensive attack. He's had better games, I'm sure, but this is a very quality opponent, we can point out, to open the season with.
He's had a tough night, but they've got some new guys they're trying to work into things. Whitehead, guy that they expect a lot from at center, is new to the program. And again, this is their first game.
No, a break on the floor, and just watch Anthony Grundy. Outstanding in this one. Madison will play Gardner-Webb next. They will go to 0-1 as they embark on a new year under the direction of Sherman Dillard, whose team was 12-17 last year, 6-10 in the conference. Look to improve on that as Hodge brings it up the floor. The young freshman, we've enjoyed watching him tonight. Hodge, Grundy, Melvin, Miller, and Eftimov on the floor for Herb Sendek.
And again, the North Carolina State offense spreading the court, looking for those open opportunities. Melvin hadn't missed very many of those now.
Just a chance to fine-tune down the stretch here with 2:06 left to go. Royals kicks it out for Ron Anderson. Anderson spinning on Eftimov. Shot well off. Coming up short, Archie Miller has control, and he'll bring it up the floor and kill some time here. Under 2 minutes left to go from the Raleigh Entertainment and Sports Arena. The Wolfpack are home Friday night in this facility against the Citadel. And next week on the 27th, they will open up play in the ACC Big Ten Challenge against the Ohio State Buckeyes. Pass is picked off by Mitchell. He springs Anderson. Eftimov getting back on him. And it's rejected by Grundy.
And boy, you hope Grundy didn't hurt right there.
Grundy got hurt, Dan. Let's hope it's not serious. His teammates help him up.
Landed hard on that hip. Oof. And one thing Herb Sendek is going to ask Eftimov is why is he trying to throw it inside to Archie Miller? But Grundy comes, boy, look at him get up, trips over Anderson's shoulder, lands very hard on that hip. Doesn't seem to be affected by it, though. Get another look at it. He's in there guarding now.
Think about that, folks. He tripped over his shoulder. You ever do that? Miller drops it off, slamming it home. Marcus Melvin.
Nice little assist by Archie Miller.
13 points for Marcus Melvin. The crowd something to cheer about here late in the game. They've enjoyed it thoroughly. 66 seconds left to go. The big lead for the Wolfpack. Broyles for Fanning. David Fanning spins, has a clean look, and gets it. Under 1 minute left to go. 73-58 NC State. Fanning has 16 points, with 12 of those coming in the second half. So he has led the way for James Madison in the final half of play. Marcus Melvin! Oh, mercy. Points for number 54. Half minute left to go. Fanning. And the Wolfpack will play hard to the final buzzer. Miller. Herb Sendek wants them to stretch it out on the final play. The shot clock is in sync with the game clock. It's all for naught anyway. 75-58. NC State will go 4 up without a loss in the young season. Hodge is short. Anderson has control. And the final portion here in Raleigh, Ron Anderson rims it. And the buzzer sounds. The final count. The Wolfpack of NC State 75. James Madison 58. Herb Sendek congratulating the Dukes of James Madison as they come to Raleigh, open up on the road against an ACC opponent. And Sherman Dillard's team showed lots of character, especially late in the first half when they trailed it by 10 points. But the class of NC State rises here in the second half, stretching out the victory. Once again, the final count, NC State 75, James Madison 58. We'll wrap this thing up from Raleigh after you watch this.